Nick Diaz with us, former Strikeforce champ, getting ready to fight George St-Pierre for that belt Super Bowl weekend, UFC 143. All right, he has caused quite a stir throughout his career. Nick Diaz has not lost a fight since 2007. What a tear he is on, 11-0 at one time. He talked about maybe just giving it all up in Strikeforce because he wanted a UFC shot. He talked about boxing at one time, you might remember. Then he gets back on the scene with the UFC, suddenly becomes the main event when the champ, George St-Pierre, is sidelined with an injury. He was dominant in his victory over BJ Penn, and now Diaz gets his chance to take on George St-Pierre, as we said, Super Bowl weekend for that title. Wow, Nick, this has been some kind of ride for you, isn't it? Back in the spring, we thought you might be a boxer, and we'd be talking about something totally different than we are right now.
Yeah, it's been a lot of changes, and it's been a lot different.
What's been the biggest thing? We all know you can fight. You're one of the talents out there. What's been the biggest difference? I imagine one of the biggest difference doing shows like this, showing up, getting more involved with the media, which the UFC encourages all its fighters to do, as you know.
Yeah, well, it's been it's been embarrassing. You don't always, come off the way that you want to, or you look the way you want to. I had to go out there and, and just act up and become the evil villain and calling guys out and stuff, and but it seemed to have worked. I'm getting the fights I want, and yeah, so I can't complain right now at this point.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Yeah, there's no reason to. I think it's turned out to be, I've said this, I think you're one of the most misunderstood guys out there, and I mean that, as you know. We were talking about a lot of different things backstage, had nothing to do with MMA fighting. You also might be a master public relations guy, you know that? I think I've just put this together. You might be the king of PR, man, because you've gone from leaving Strikeforce to be a boxer to now getting a shot at GSP.
Yeah, I was gonna go ahead and go down that road with the boxing, but they gave me that fight, and that's the fight I was asking for from the beginning. But I was here first. Really, I've been a UFC fighter for longer than George St-Pierre has. I don't know if not a lot of people realize that. I've been fighting in the UFC, before all of them. So I've been here first. I had more fights, and I've fought the bigger names. And for I don't have nothing against George personally, but for him not to, want the harder fight and to, expect everybody just to, think Carlos Condit's a harder fight, it's just not. It's just, it may be the case, but that's not on paper, So you got to recognize that.
Well, this is exactly the way you wanted it to come down. This is the way it is going to come down now. Doesn't get any better, does it? Perfect scenario coming up. St-Pierre taking on Diaz, 143. It will be a super fight. It is Super Bowl weekend. And, a lot of people think St-Pierre is one of the guys that's almost invincible. He's been on an incredible roll. As we said, Nick hasn't lost since 07. He has been on an amazing roll as well. Now, Nick's, there's St-Pierre. St-Pierre throwing a pretty decent straight right there. Against Shields. I mean, this is one of his. He was more active on the ground, standing up, than he usually is.
Yeah, but the Jake is not a super great striker as well. So George, after Matseri, he's never been the same. When he got dropped, and he really should start committing to punches because he needs that. Of course, he's going to take Nick down. He's going to go to the ground. Can he keep him in the side mount though? That's going to be the problem. I think he will work for a guard to start attacking from there. And every time when he's going to start fighting and getting back up, it's going to wear him down. He's got a lot of pressure on him, GSP right now. That's going to that's not going to be good for you for your lactic acid. You're going to gas out sooner. It's a 5-round fight. He needs to commit to his punches like he did in the early days. He's been knocking out people out with punches, and he's been knocking people out with kicks. So we need to see that back in order to, really try to commit to punches, see if he can land one on Nick. Because on the ground, once it goes to the ground, I think it's going to be a really good game. I always said it also before, this is going to be a fight that GSP is going to be forced to fight. Unlike in the, he fights very careful. We know this now, but now he's going to be forced to fight, and I think it's going to be the best.
I'm taking a big guess as Nick was looking back on that fight with GSP and Shields that you wouldn't mind to see George come right out and stand up with you right out.
Yeah, well, me and Shields, we've got a lot of similarities depending on how we're going out there fighting. So it's good to see, it's good to see what's what. And I just fought a guy that he's fought before, so I'm sure that's good for him to see what's what with that. But it's all about how you come out and fight. It can always go different. It's I can go on bottom a lot, but it's like, are you going to be able to advance position? Are you going to be able to do damage from there? Are you going to stall? Are you going to fight? There's a lot of different stuff can happen, and it's up to me to try to kind of make some stuff happen in 5 rounds. It's a lot of time for me to work with in this one, and I enjoy fighting 5 rounds. I work hard, and to be in good condition to fight for 5 rounds. So going back to 3 rounds was kind of an obstacle. Having to change your plan up for 3 rounds instead of for 5 rounds just a little bit. Make sure you come on top of that first round is really important in 3 rounds. 5 rounds, 5-round fight. So.
Yeah.
You're
a game planner? Do you really work and look at his fighting?
I think it's important to plan everything.
Yep.
And my plan is to have a plan for everything, and that's always so. I think that's what I'm good at. That's what I bring to the table here. So we'll see how that goes. Now he's fighting somebody that does everything, and that's gonna do everything.
Yeah. All right, Nick. What do you think about all that?
I think he's a little bitter because he just lost a 3-round fight with me. So, but it's whatever. That's whatever. I think that it's the same thing. He goes on bottom. He stays on bottom. If you can put the choke and finish the choke and hold position, advance position, I'm not going to stay on my back. So I'm going to fight and. We're gonna see. I'm curious to see how that, how it's gonna go. You want to, to go ahead and go on top, and then you want to try to advance position, take the position, and hold control. You're gonna have an opportunity to do it. So, go ahead and see if you can do it. If you can do it, you can do it. I want to see somebody who can do that then, and then hold control for 1 round, 2 rounds, or finish in 1 round, 2 rounds, and then, or have that whole endurance to go 5 rounds. So or you're gonna go ahead and put the punches. I put my face in, you throw punches at me, and then I'm gonna counter with punches. You're gonna throw more punches, or am I gonna throw more punches? So are you gonna go on top over and over again? If you do go on top, you're gonna advance position and do damage, or I'm ready to make something happen. So you can see either GSP go out there and finish his fight. He's wanted to go for the finish, or you're gonna see me have an answer for this stalling and win rounds. But I'm the one that's in this division that's mouthing off and talking the most. So if anybody's in for a good whooping, or it's time for a good whooping, it's probably I'm that guy. So and who better at not to be than UFC champion. So I'm ready to get the show on the road. I'm not getting any not getting any younger, right?
You got to come back on, dude. You got to do this more often. Great answer.
All right, now I'm here with Nick Diaz. He's going to face GSP on Super Bowl weekend. That's going to be a lot of fun. Now, his training partners is his brother Nate, Jake Shields, and you got Gilbert Melendez. Now, let's listen to Gilbert Melendez, what he has to say about him.
I love my team. I love my team. The core of the team is Nick, Nate, and Jake, and I. And we've been leading by example and holding it down for a long time, starting as white belts together. We're a true team. And more than a team, we're family now. It's our time to shine right now, and everyone's on top of their game. And win or lose, we're still so much stronger as a team.
Normally we talk about game plans here in the cage. Now we're going to talk about the mental aspect of fighting, which I always say is the most important. 100% fighting is mental. In order to get out of bed to train, to work out, you have to use your brain. That's what I always say. Now, Jake Shields and Melendez, they helped you with a different kind of wrestling, right? To first wear them down and then go into the technical aspect. How would you explain that?
Yeah. Well, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy first. I started out with a lot of wrestling, but I never went far with it. I got pinned, and, it was disappointing. It's like losing a fight right away, and just getting held down, pinned. And so I learned jiu-jitsu. I started learning Gracie jiu-jitsu, and Caesar brought Shields in, and Shields brought, Gil in, and we all, started training together, and, I'm the guy on bottom a lot and right off, trying to attack them and learn how to find ways to use less energy to, deal with their strength and explosiveness that they're building, and I just learn better ways to save energy and work my way around this strength and this explosive speed that they're trying to gain. And, we get the best of both worlds. I get the best of these wrestlers trying to hold me down. They get the best out of these jiu-jitsu guys trying to attack them. And then for them, they're used to it when they go fight a guy that's good at jiu-jitsu. And then for me, I'm used to it when I have to deal with these wrestlers, and I deal with a lot of wrestlers, and it helps me. I learn how to wrestle with the guy before I try to be technical with them, and that way I don't become frustrated. I know that we're wrestling for a while, and now that they're frustrated as well, then I start pulling the tricks.
That's it.
Yeah, and same with the jiu-jitsu guys. I work out with these guys a lot, and sometimes I can't just go right in for the to pass the guard or and be technical. So I start to wrestle these guys out, and I start to just become Gilbert or Jake right on them, and wrestle them out first. And then now once they're tired, I've been turned into a physical, aspect, and I've made this more of a physical sort of strength game for a while, and then I've worn them out, and then that's when I can start to play the technical aspect and kind of come in on some of the jiu-jitsu guys.
Perfect.
So we get the best out of each other, And
Hey, Nick, what is harder to prepare for, a triathlon or a fight? Good question from Jason Saylor. Which one is it?
Well, sometimes it depends on what triathlon or what fight. You got to become real specific for what you're training for exactly. Like for me, I do a lot of Xterra. It's a lot of off-road, so I'm training. It's a mountain bike triathlons. They're on the dirt, so you're mountain biking, and you gotta, if you're not gonna pre-ride the course, and get some good workouts in there with that exact course you're riding, then it could be real problem. So it depends on what type of room you have to train for that. The same thing for MMA. I like it because it's all these aspects you're going to cover for MMA, and then same for triathlon. All the swim, bike, and run, not just one.
Excellent, Nick. Pleasure to have you with us. Come back, okay?
Yeah.
Gotta do
right.
it.